Hello and welcome to On Point. I'm Tamara Magaña. Today we are going to be talking about California Bill SB 320. If passed, it will require all CSU and UC campuses to provide medical abortion pills to student health centers by 2022. The procedure can only take place during the first 10 weeks of pregnancy. It involves taking a combination of 2 different pills. Community and private colleges will have the option to participate in the program. We spoke to some students about the bill.
I think it's a great idea because students are really busy and abortion appointments that take like an hour or 2 hours and you need someone to drive you home, and this way you can just go to the health clinic, just grab it and you can go take it like your own privacy.
We have so many young kids, young girls, young women who don't know much about it, and they just kind of have that, like, okay, I can't. They don't know what to do once they get pregnant. I have so many girls. I had a lot of my girlfriends, they got pregnant without them planning it beforehand, and then they got abortion.
I actually think it's great because I think women should have the choice to go through an abortion if they decide to, and it's even easier if they're allowed to come to campus and simply get the pill and go through the procedure.
Some people aren't ready to be parents as it is. So if you're going to be going to school and you're going to be taking care of this kid at the same time and you're going to be struggling the whole time, not only are you making it hard for yourself, but you're making it hard on the kid.
You know what? I think I don't find that to be a bad thing if the school provides these abortions and these kind of like procedures and these things for its students, because I mean the population here at CSUN specifically, I mean you're dealing with a lot of people that are in their their mid-20s, people who are sexually active, and my standpoint on abortion, I mean I agree on abortion, so I feel like there should be clinics and opportunities for for a procedure like this to happen, especially for kids that are always sexually active.
I think everyone has a right to decide what they want to do with their body. I don't think anyone should control what one can and cannot do. So I think it's a good idea for those who do want it, and for those who don't, that's your opinion, and just let those who do want it have the opportunity and ability to have that.
I honestly feel great about it. I think that females, everyone should have the right of their choice, their own choice, and if they wanted to get an abortion, they should have that right. We shouldn't be stopping other people from that right. Just because you don't agree with something, that doesn't mean that someone else does. And I just think that it's the right thing to do, to give people that right of having an abortion. And with the campus providing those resources and all of that will help so many students, because some people don't have those resources, and some people are raped. Some people go through different circumstances and end up pregnant, and all of those resources are definitely helpful, especially for people who are just new to college and trying to figure things out. And I think that's just helpful.
The campaign for the bill started at UC Berkeley in 2016, but was turned down by the campus. Berkeley students say the campus offers 18 different types of contraceptives, but no form of abortion. The Women's Foundation of California helped draft the current bill. Senator Connie Leiva helped get it to Governor Shara Brown's desk. Some CSUN students are aware of the contraceptives available to them on campus, others are not.
Pretty familiar, because I did take a women in health class, so she would tell us there's 7 different contraceptives that women can take, not including condoms.
I'm not too aware. I know that the healthcare center, I know that they do have different things that I can go through. I know that I have other people that I can talk to about those things, and as far as emotional help, yeah, I know that there's that, but not as far as contraceptives. I think that we need more I guess we need to bring it more to the average person's eye.
Well, I'm pretty aware. I mean, our health center, I know that there's a little bit of marketing for the health center as well. There are representatives that have their own booth, and they kind of just try to talk to or reach out to the student population to say hey, wear a condom, wear this, be on birth control. To be honest, I mean, as a student here for about 5.5 years, I've been pretty aware about the opportunities that the health center gives off for contraceptives.
I think they can. I feel like a lot of people don't know that they could get it for free, or like that if they go through the school they can get it maybe at a better price, because I know a lot of people, I don't know, they don't know even that there's a health center here that we can go to.
I feel like they can do a better job by just being more present on campus. I mean, since I'm a public health major, I know about this stuff, but I feel like they should really like bring more awareness around campus by spreading posters, signs. You know how everybody knows about Big Show because of little posters. I mean, they should be aware with that, with the sexual side of things on campus.
Yes, I think that they should be doing a better job at promoting it, just because like a lot of people who go through these things, a lot of people who become pregnant, they don't want to say anything because they're afraid that they're gonna be wrong about it, or be that someone's gonna be like, you're bad, you're pregnant, this and that. I think it's good to like make people more aware of like the circumstances that are going on, and just give them the opportunity and resources.
The proposal to provide medical abortions is estimated to cost about $14 million. Tax money will not fund the program. Instead, it will be funded by the Women's Foundation of California, a private donor, and the Terra Health Foundation. Terra Health says each of the 34 campuses would receive $200,000 to implement the program. On Point's Natalia Vivino has more on the story.
Thanks, Tamara. I'm joined today by the CSUN director of the Women's Research and Resource Center on campus, Professor Shara Brown. Thank you, Professor, for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get started. What are some of the challenges campuses could face by implementing medical abortions?
I think some of the major challenges might come from the opposition, the people who maybe don't agree with abortion, don't believe in abortion rights for women. So that might be a challenge. I think that some people are concerned that it requires a little bit of medical training, and but my understanding is that that would all be covered if the bill gets passed, so that that funding is in place to get that training.
Based on today's political climate, how much at stake is a woman's right to an abortion right now?
It's at stake. With the Supreme Court seat open, a lot can happen and change in terms of decisions that are made in the Supreme Court. We count on Ruth Bader Ginsburg and other left-leaning judges. Kennedy was kind of in between, but we were able to really count on him for this fight. And so depending on who fills the seat might make the judgments different and might lean a little bit more towards anti-abortion policies.
Now, critics of Bill SB 320 are concerned over potential health risks that could be involved with the process, even though experts say the risks are minimal. Do you think campuses and students need to be further educated on what exactly this procedure is going to entail on campuses?
I think one of the most important things that should happen if this bill passes is first explaining to students and people on campus that there's a difference between RU 486, I think is the sort of layman's name, and Plan B, which is contraception. So that would be the first part of educating people, is letting them know that they serve different purposes. But also, no one's suggesting that someone takes this so-called abortion pill on their own, right? It's with a medical professional, it's with somebody monitoring them, and so it's not meant to be sort of like an over-the-counter drug,
Now, what type of resources does the Women's Center here at CSUN provide students?
Right now, we provide condoms, and we provide pregnancy tests and referrals. So we can certainly provide students with referrals to the Clot Center, but we can also refer them to places off campus if they're more comfortable going somewhere off campus.
And what would you say, how many women come to the center to receive information on contraceptives or unplanned pregnancies?
We don't collect that kind of information or data. I know just anecdotally that we can't keep condoms in stock enough, and I know the same is true about pregnancy tests. So obviously our students are having sex and are concerned about pregnancies, and so it's you know, it's not a secret that that happens on a college campus, you know. But we don't collect that kind of data because we're not a medical institution, and we are there to simply support students to help them be successful as students. And if that is, you know, helping them access resources on or off campus, or just helping them have safe sex, whatever it is, that's what we're there for.
Now, condoms are offered to men for free on campus.
Correct.
Now, does the Women's Center offer any free contraceptives to women?
Well, we do not offer female condoms, although the Pride Center does. So you can get free female condoms from the Pride Center. They're not very popular or widely used, as far as I understand. And then in terms of birth control pills, that would be with a medical professional, so we couldn't do that. And the same is true for Plan B. Well, actually, Plan B is something that you can access over the counter, and we're working on trying to make that more available on campus as well.
And do you think that there are some women, especially on campus, who are unaware of the types of female contraceptives that are offered to them?
There might be. You know, if sometimes I think people, you know, students come to college sort of not having that basic sex education, not just in terms of contraception, but how to protect yourself. And so there might be a little bit of shock when people come to college, because that's sort of more in your face. But there are a lot of resources on campus to get that information or to have access to that information off campus.
And the Center for Disease Control says women in their 20s are the most likely to undergo abortions.
Right.
Do you have any insight as to why that is?
I would speculate that there's probably a lot more unprotected sex happening at a younger age because we think we are invincible, we think it won't happen to us, we maybe don't know how it happens, right? And so I think that younger women who find themselves more sexually active than ever before might find themselves in a predicament where they become pregnant and then realize after the fact that they're not ready for that.
Now, how can campuses improve their sex education programs?
That's a good question. Well, I am assuming students have to take a health class, so that would be good. You can definitely take a Women in Health course in the Gender and Women's Studies department, so that information can be received there. But I think that it's one of those on-the-job training type of things that students kind of learn as they go, right? And from peers, I'm assuming social media, there's all sorts of ways for people to get information about how not to get pregnant or how to stay safe.
Now, critics of Bill SB 320, they also raised concern over the fact that if medically induced abortions are available to college students on campuses, that there's a risk these students might have to pay for a portion of the services or that their campus health costs will increase. Now, I spoke to California Senator Connie Leiva last week, and she responded to some of those concerns.
Great.
Let's hear what she has to say.
You know, I think that the opposition to this bill are just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. And part of it is that the funding won't be there, that student fees will go up, that health centers will have to charge more. So each campus will receive $200,000. Each system, USC and CSU, will receive $200,000 so that they can set up like a hotline or something like that. If the system thinks they need to do that, $200,000 is more than enough to get each health campus up and running to have what they need to be trained to provide medicated abortion. Going forward, these campuses can bill private insurance, they can bill Medi-Cal, they can bill the private insurance, like I said, so that there should be no cost in the future going forward. If these campuses actually bill for the service, they will be reimbursed, and then they will actually have more money to do more at the health campuses than they can do right now. So we see it as something that's a win-win for everyone.
Going back to this topic, what are some of the reasons women seek out abortions?
Students?
Yes, especially students.
Okay, so I think that the number one reason is because they're not ready, right? It's really hard to be a parent, gets in the way of all sorts of important things and fun things, and when you're not ready for it, it's just not, doesn't seem like a viable path to take at that time. I don't think that most people seek out abortions because they're fun or because they are, something to do over the weekend, right? I think it's a really big decision that people have to make, and they're not going to take it lightly. And these decisions come with a lot at stake. And so I think we are so critical on the woman who's choosing to have an abortion. But she's the only one who knows her life and the direction it needs to go in. And having a child can really throw that direction off. And so I think that for students especially who are so young, parenting is no joke.
Abortions are known to cause some physical side effects. These include cramps, nausea, other things like that. Now, some women, do you think they're hesitant to seek out abortions because of this, even if they may really need one?
I think that a woman who might be hesitant to seek out an abortion is probably hesitant because she is conflicted. I think once a woman has decided that it's time for the abortion, she needs to have the abortion, I think that those side effects are minor in retrospect. Again, if she doesn't have that abortion, then the outcome is a little bit more extreme, I would say, than those side effects. So I don't know if there's maybe there's like a misunderstanding about how painful an abortion is. I don't know, but I don't think that the side effects are what would keep a woman from doing it. I think that there are other internal conflicts that would keep a woman from doing it.
And that's interesting you brought up those internal conflicts, because another concern from critics is that an abortion could have psychological effects on a woman if she goes through with one. Do you think that that's really the case, that is a serious concern for most women who seek out an abortion?
Well, like I said, nobody jumps into an abortion and, thinks it's going to be easy, right? And there may be psychological long-term effects, but there are long-term effects of having an unwanted child. And what are the alternatives? Having a child and then giving that child up for adoption, that seems like it would have a lot of long-term psychological effects as well. Having a child and keeping a child that you weren't ready for, that seems like it would have a lot of long-term effects too. So I don't know the research or the evidence that suggests that there is a long-term psychological effect on women if they go through with an abortion. In fact, most of the women I know who've had abortions are actually really thankful and grateful that they were able to do it, right? And that they are really happy with their life, even in spite of the fact that they had to have this abortion.
Now, the pro-life and pro-choice argument is still present in our country right now, as we know. Senator Leiva also addressed this during her interview with me last week, along with her hopes for the bill's future. Let's hear what she has to say.
My hope is if the governor signs it into law, we will give hope to other states. It's really unfortunate that abortion has such a stigma. I mean, if you want to get in a fight with someone, just ask if they're pro-life or pro-choice. And it really shouldn't be that way. It comes down to one thing: pro-choice. women should always have the right to do what they wish with their body, their very own body. And I hope that part of this removes the stigma, shows other colleges across the country that they can do the same. Women are going to have abortions regardless. Let's make sure that it is safe and the access is safe. Having a medicated abortion is so much easier than having a surgical abortion. It has to be done within the first 10 weeks of pregnancy. Let's help women who need to have an abortion do it in a safe and timely manner.
Some states have cut funding for Planned Parenthood, and some hospitals don't perform abortions. From a women's rights perspective, how does this affect women in the United States?
Well, we've decided legally that women should have access to abortions, right? That's what Roe v. Wade was all about, and that's what our government has said is true, right? That women have a right to privacy, which means they're not allowed to interfere with decisions that women make about their bodies, right? And so by not giving women access, by not doing it in certain hospitals, and perhaps by not offering it on campuses or whatever, in certain states, not making it available, you're telling women, one, that their right to privacy is in question, right? And you're also telling them that they're not equipped to make decisions about their body. And what the bill would do, I think, is make it accessible for students in the least harmful way possible, right? So that doing something medically within the first 10 weeks is a lot less traumatic than doing something surgically a few weeks later, right? And so it's about access, it's about women's rights to make decisions about their bodies, to control their bodies, to make that choice for themselves.
Do these states, the states that restrict abortion, that make it difficult for a woman to get an abortion, do they tend to have smaller female demographics, or perhaps their religious preferences are different, or?
Oh, I honestly don't know the answer to that. I doubt highly that there are fewer abortions, though. I don't think that just because a state restricts who's entitled to access an abortion or who can get an abortion at, by a certain week or whatever it is, I don't think that just because they do that, women are not getting abortions, right? I think that they're going to other states, they're maybe doing things that are harmful to their bodies, but it's not making abortions decrease.
Adiba Khan, the UC Berkeley graduate who helped campaign for this bill with a group of her peers while she was an undergrad, is proud of the fact that Bill SB 320 has made the progress that it has and that it stemmed from students on her campus. And she actually spoke with me in an interview last week discussing that from a student's perspective. Let's hear what she has to say.
This bill did not come out of like a vacuum or just like a politician who's not connected to students. I'm so proud to say that I've had the opportunity to have started this work. This work was by students, for students. Students are the ones who have been showing up to hearings, doing the work necessary to have had this bill become onto Governor Jerry Brown's desk. So it is a student-led movement. And I think that's so important, because I think oftentimes, even though historically student activism has definitely created a lot of different different rights for students, or helping people from marginalized communities. Student activism has always been powerful, but I think it's a message that's often forgotten. So I really like to bring out how this is a very successful movement. Even if for some reason Jerry Brown decides to veto it, I still think that there are a lot of things gained. It still ended up on his desk. A bill like this ended up on his desk.
Some private health insurances don't fund abortions. Are there other ways women could receive funding for abortions based on your knowledge?
They could go to Planned Parenthood, who will help women access an abortion, as well as help them access contraception, as well as help them access health care and screenings for cancer, all sorts of things that Planned Parenthood could do. But one of the things that they could do is help somebody get an abortion.
And how often do you think women go through with pregnancies because they can't afford to abort?
Again, I don't have any data on that. It's an interesting question, but I would say that probably a lot of students, for a lot of women, for a lot of reasons, don't have abortions. I think that religion plays a role in that choice. I think that, if they're very young, perhaps their parents play a role in that decision. I think that fear and just lack of knowledge, not having the information, not knowing how to access an abortion, not knowing that it's even available to them. I think that women make that choice a lot. And, if they had the information, if we were making sure that that information was available, perhaps they would have made a different choice.
If this bill is passed, it's still sitting on Governor Brown's desk.
Yeah.
If it's passed, how can it further improve reproductive rights in the U.S.?
Well, I think what it can do to start is really put at the start of the conversation that there is a separation between church and state, right? That the state is saying women have a right to an abortion, they have a right to privacy, they have a right to choice. And in a state institution, right, in California, students should be able, who are depending on the health services provided on campus, right? A lot of our students utilize our health services as their only form of insurance. So I think by us passing this, we're saying to those students, we know that this might come up as a situation for you, and we want to make it available to you because we know this is where you're getting all of your health services from, right? And so it's all about access. I mean, the whole conversation about abortion from beginning to end is about access. Who has access to the information? Who has access to the actual abortions, right? It's all about access. And so in this case, it would be saying to students, we're making it more accessible for you so that, as a student, you don't have to, lose your mind over this. This is something we can walk you through.
Thank you for joining us today, Professor Brown. I'm Natalia Vivino.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Thank you for watching On Point. You can follow us on social media at CSUN On Point. You can hear us on KCSN 88.5 FM on Sunday mornings at 5:30. You can watch us on Santa Clarita Valley Television on Sundays at 5 and on LA 36 at 9:30 Thursday nights. For all of us here at On Point, I'm Tamara Magaña.